up every dollar van. Every Trinidad, Jamaican, Lucian, Guyanese and African. Get a you.
Keep calm, but listen on.
Rocking the waves with Kaieteur Radio.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM.
Kaieteur Radio.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Look out for the grand launching of the Survival Shopping Mall at Little Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. A job fair will be held on November 4 and November 8 at Little Diamond. So don't miss out on this opportunity to join the survival staff.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla-flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or two of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla-flavored sponge cake, donut-shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Attention seafood suppliers. Dave's, the largest purchaser of fresh fish from Guyana, is interested in buying from you. Dave's deeply cares about bolstering the local economy and is looking to begin business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, bundari crab, sheriga crab, white-belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Viceless, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yeah, good evening and welcome to another program of the Sean Devers Sports Watch. It's Tuesday, October 21. I'm still in the year 2025 and you can call on 622-2222. That's the WhatsApp number, 622 and 42s. So that's the WhatsApp number you can call tonight. I'm Sean Devers welcoming you to another program of the Sean Devers Sports Watch. On tonight's program, we talk about cricket with fitness coach Basil Butcher Jr. Well, he's coming from the States and former Guyana West Indies captain. He's Ramnaresar and he's the lead selector. He's going to join us a little later. And of course, we've got Felix Walker. He is the CWI under 19 pathway batting coach. Got that right. So those are the guests we've got tonight. Tonight's program comes to you with the compliments of Dave's West Indian Imports, KFC, Nomilco, Builders Lumberyard, and Survival Supermarket. Remember, they've got a new branch coming up in Little Diamond next month. and they've got a job fair on the 4th and the 8th of November, so you can go and be hired. Good night to everybody. Good night to my mom, Juliet Devers Chapwani, and to all those in and out of Guyana watching and listening this program. Well, we start with the news that Demerara and Essequibo will battle for the intercounty 50-over supremacy on Saturday, November 1 at the Hampton Court Ground. That's the new Hampton Court Ground in the Queensway intercounty 50-over final. After the final round was played, virtually a semi-final with Berbice and Demerara playing in that match. Essequibo had already qualified, and Berbice, in the end, despite all their big-name players, they lost that match to Demerara, and Demerara will now play Essequibo. Shimon Hettimeyer, Anderson, Sinclair, all of those guys failed, and it was 47-5 actually when Hettimeyer was out caught behind off the off spinner. He made, I think, 15. So the leading run scorer in that competition was Matthew Nandu. He scored the only 100 so far. Well, he's got another chance to play in the final. And Junior Sinclair, the Berbician, he's got the only 5-wicket haul. He doesn't have another chance. It's going to be the Essequibians who've got the other chance. So that's the position in that tournament, and they're preparing for the regional Super 50, which starts on the 18th and ends on the 29th. All the matches will be played in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, well, mainly Trinidad, and Guyana is hunting their 10th title, but first since 2005. And West Indies, they had a great match today, even though they tied the match. They lost the first match, then they won in the Super Over today, and that was a ding-dong battle. Bangladesh 213 for 7, West Indies 213 to 9, leaving Bangladesh 11 runs to get in the Super Over. West Indies made 10. So Bangladesh had to get 11, and they opened the bowling with Akil Hussain, who started with a wide, and after one ball, he bowled a no ball, which the batter mishit, a free hit, and hit it down towards mid-on. And after that, after one ball, the total was 5 without loss. And in the end, another wide was bowled by Hussain, who still defended the runs. So West Indies now play their next match, or the last match of the 3-match series, on Thursday, and that's at 3 a.m. on Thursday morning. They level the series 1-1. Let's say good night now to our first guest who's come on, and that's going to be Basil Butcher Jr. He's the fitness coach. He's living in the United States. We've also got Felix Walker, who's the CWI's on the 19 pathway batting coach. And we've got a little later on the program, he's a very busy man, Ramnare Sarwan, and he's going to be coming on for a short while to talk about the intercounty and so on and so forth. Basil, this morning, what do you think of the West Indies' second match in this series against Bangladesh?
Good evening, Sean. Good evening to your fellow panelists, Mr. Walker, and good evening to your listeners and viewers. Sean, this game was a game between two poor teams, and it played out as that. Nobody seemed to want to win the game. Each team was throwing chances in each other's direction to win the game, and West Indies finally crossed the line. But as you know, these games count towards being automatically qualifying for the World Cup. So we will take a win as a win, no matter how we get it. A win is a win.
And
But
that started
overall-
with the Nepal series, right?
No, Nepal is not in that. No. Nepal has to go through other qualifying through the associate route. This is with the full member nations. But the other thing too, I've heard a lot of complaints about the nature of the pitch, this pitch, and so on and so forth. But I looked and I went back and re-looked at all of the dismissals, and none of those dismissals could be accounted to the pitch. It was poor shot selection, poor shot execution. I think all of the batters could take a leaf out of their captain's book. The captain saw what happened in the first game and made the adjustment to play with the spin. Don't play against the spin on a turning wicket. Most of them perished trying to play shots against the spin. And, the youngster, I ain't going to come down hard on him, young Auguste, because maybe he wasn't paying attention that they placed the man there particularly for that shot, that sweep shot. They were trying to take that away from him. And he hit the ball straight in the guy's hands, right? The guy was placed there to take a catch because he was pretty close, So that I would chalk that up to some inexperience. But for the most part, two poor teams, neither of them seemed to want to win and was throwing the ball in each other's court, and we crossed the line in front.
Yeah, and that final power play, the super over.
Yes,
that was a comedy of errors because
that's why I'm saying that nobody wanted to win. I mean, Hussein run up and bowl the first ball wide, bring the thing down to, was it 9 runs in 6 balls or 10 runs in 6 balls, and then goes, as you said earlier, bowls a no ball. And we lucked out that they show you the Bangladeshi should have at least get a minimum of at least a boundary from that
free hit, yeah.
And end up just getting 2 runs, So it's 2 teams that they're not very good.
Well, to my mind, apart from the captain, Shai Hope, who continues to look good in ODIs, and he has a good record against Bangladesh especially. He's the only batsman that batted with common sense, worked the ball into the areas, played aggressive shot when needed, showed excellent shot selection and so on. And the temperament, he wasn't fazed by the target. He knew there were a lot of overs, and he almost got stuck in the end because towards the end, he didn't get much batting as the wickets kept tumbling. But it was a good win in the context. A win is a win. And let's see what will happen now on Thursday morning. Good evening to you, Felix Walker. Hope you didn't walk into that tree behind you there.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Basil. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on the program, guys. To all the listeners, welcome. Let's start with today's game. To be a West Indian supporter or a lover of cricket in the West Indies, you definitely need your regular checkup with your cardiologist. It's not for the faint-hearted. What I will say, though, is the character shown by the team with the amount of pressure that is being placed on them within the region and around the world.
That's justified or not?
Some of it is unjustified, I think. A lot of it is unjustified because we are just based in a lot of these criticism on outcomes rather than the processes. And one of the things I have seen since I've been back in Guyana, involved in cricket, is the work ethics of these guys and the dedication and the commitment to being better players. I can't fault. However, what I have noticed, if you practice hard but practice the wrong thing, the outcome will be inconsistent.
Well, people say practice makes perfect, but I say proper practice makes perfect.
No, but yeah, that's fine in an ideal world. However, um, the situation, let's be frank, with the lack of facilities that we have around the region, we are still able to produce world-class players.
World class?
Right?
Presently?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
No, well, no. What I'm saying, we're still able to produce world class. For a long time in the region, we haven't had a bowling attack that can take 10 test wickets, 20 test wickets in a game. We have that with lack of facilities. However, one of the things that I think has contributed to that is the fact that a couple of those bowlers have had a stint in English cricket. And as a finishing school in England, you hone in your skills. You play more games, you practice assiduously. Weather don't affect your preparation in the UK. So the fact that Anderson Phillips and Javon Seals has been able to go over and play county cricket, we are reaping the benefits of that.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And I think that should not be underestimated because there's a reason why a lot of West Indian players, from the juniors right up to the seniors, don't have an avenue to get to the UK to play in England, because the authorities have made it almost impossible. And I've lived in the UK for over 35 years. I have seen the evolution of you having 2 or 3 international players in a county side, to then 2, to then 1, then they've gone to the Colpack system, and then from the Colpack system, they've gone to the Australians, the South Africans, the Kiwi players, predominantly. Some Indian players do play depending on what the board, the BCCI, wants for those players. Now, when West Indies cricket was strong, we didn't have guys playing county cricket. We had guys playing league cricket in the UK. And that is where we have suffered the most. We still had basic facilities here, or less. But as players, we played more. And that is something that I think needs to address. We need to address that. My involvement in cricket in Guyana has been, I'm backing the involvement of cricket from the highest level. The board has involved me in the preparations with the Harpy Eagles. I've got an appointment with the CWI as a pathway coach. I've been assigned 5 players that I'm working with. And we have to improvise sometimes to get our work done. And if it is that you just do what the job says you do, the player suffers, right? So as a coach, you got to sometimes think outside the box, and you have to make it available, make yourself available, make sacrifices for these players because they want it, but we have to kind of like, almost work magic. Now, I think in Guyana, we do have a structure that is forever. I'm just so committed to see how best I can have an impact and how I could impart the knowledge and experience I've gained over the years on these guys, because I know with a bit of fine tuning and a little bit of adjusting, we will see these guys literally flourishing going forward. I'm not going to bash them because it's international sports and all teams have transitional period. We seem to be going through a transitional decade or decades. But that's not lack of commitment of the players. I'm pretty sure of that. I think the governing bodies and the people who are in charge need to appoint people who understands cricket. I'm not having a go at whoever is in charge. I'm just saying, like, we have great players around the region. For example, Kieran Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, Sunil Narayan now coming to the end of his playing career. Well, not to say he's going to stop soon, but those minds who played so much limited over cricket, we need to tap into that resource. You know, we don't need to necessarily appoint them specific roles, but have them around the group. You know, like India does that with guys like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Sachin, and those guys. They utilize the skills of these guys. So I think if we kind of like just understand how we play and get back to that, we'd be good. We'd be good.
And Felix, where are you based when you coach these 5 players with the Pathway under 19 system?
Well, we don't have. Well, we base at LBI because that's the national center from the cricket board, where all of their cricket goes through the LBI facility. We haven't had access to that for a variety of reasons, whether it be renovation or weather. So I have had to improvise by seeking out various grounds. When the weather was poor, I reached out to the Essequibo Cricket Board, and they have a facility there that we could use when we have inclement weather. It's not ideal, but we could still get work done. So we've actually gone across the Anna Regina as a group, and we've got some work done. So ideally, I would like us to be based at the stadium, but that's not currently available.
And in addition to that, the stadium, in the event of adverse weather, the stadium does not have an indoor facility.
No, we I don't think we've got any in the country. We do have a couple of private entities that do have some sort of facility, but we don't have anyone for public access that we could get our work done. And that's one of the areas where we could.
Is there not an indoor facility still at LBI?
It's under renovation. It's not completed fully as yet. Excuse me, they were doing some work.
Okay.
So when that's up and running, we could actually get a lot of technical work done.
All right. And what are your biggest challenges? When did you start doing this kind of program for the CWI?
I was appointed in November last, and the program, because of the weather and everything, came online in the new year, which was this year. And it was 5 players, Jonathan Van Lang, Golcharan Chulai, to kind of make a schedule available so everybody can meet and get our stuff done. In addition to that, and I have to commend the board for this, and I did champion for it, that because the guys are coming from different areas, we actually have been allocated a budget for the guys to travel, so to ease the expenses on the guys. So the board has facilitated that.
But that was something always happening previously, even when I played. When you go outside of your county to do any training, you get transportation allowance and accommodation. This is where we pause for a business cause, and then we'll be right back.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you and now available nationwide. Another convenient size packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here. The 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the Sean Dever Sports Watch. Basil Butcher, you want to respond to what Felix said? I must say something. When West Indies were dominant in the 1980s, especially in early 90s, most of the players, if not all, the batsmen played county cricket, not league cricket. Viv Richards and all of those guys, Gordon Greenidge and Desmond Haynes and all of those guys played in the county cricket. And the last set of West Indian batsmen to play county cricket, I think, was Sarwan and Chandra Paul. But we've seen, because of the lack of standard, the batsmen are not being given county contracts anymore. More of the bowlers are given county contracts. Basil, before you talk about what Felix said, why do you think is that?
West Indian cricketers, it's the low ebb of where we are as a cricketing nation. Our players are not in demand, particularly in the longer formats of the game. So batters, that is, county teams are not going to look our side. And then on top of that, one of the problems with our players since the FTP was put into place, where West Indies were now playing international series during the summer, which was something never used to happen in the past, because our players, for the most part, lots of times would not be available to play in the counties because they would be on international duty, playing in the same time of the year that county cricket is being played in England. So that kind of hampered our players' participation in county cricket when they changed the FTP I think it was in the late 90s.
Mm.
Yeah.
But before you talk about what Felix said, I want to say good evening to Joshua Jones. He recently returned from a successful series in England. He played in the minor leagues, not the big county cricket or so, but he did well with the ball and he did somewhat well with the bat. He played in the inter-county, and the final, as I said, is going to be on Saturday, the 1st of November at Hampton Court. That's the new Hampton Court in Essequibo. Yes, Basil.
Yeah, look, the issue with us, our system as it is today, does not produce quality world-class cricketers anymore. That's a fact. I'm not talking something as opinion, right? So for our players to get that grounding, they will have to go to systems that produce such type players, whether it be Australia, whether it be England, whether it be South Africa, New Zealand, what have you. So it is incumbent of our cricket board, also, in addition to that, to have a robust A-team program, and many of us have been calling for that. I give an example. South Africa is about to embark on their third A-team series this year, right? So we have to facilitate those things for our players, because in my view, no player should pick to play for the West Indies in international cricket until they have gone through the gauntlet of 18, because our system is not producing. Guys have missed out a lot of technical things and so on, and they get to the international level and they're still learning on those things, and that's the worst thing to happen.
We recently saw that with Joel Andrews. He dominated the regional 4-day, and when he got to the higher level on good pitches against quality bowlers, he looked not as good as he looked in the region.
Yeah, I always thought that Joel Andrews should have been playing 18 cricket, not to promote him to the international team. It seems that West in the Caribbean, in the region today, as soon as we see somebody that seems very talented, that person we try to fast track them into the international team, and forgetting that we don't have a system that is conducive to developing all the requisite skills, the basic fundamentals that one should have mastered by the time they get to tell you the truth, they should be mastering these things before they get to first class cricket.
Yeah.
As what used to happen in the past. Our club cricket let's talk for Guyana, for example. Club cricket was the place where our first class cricketers was developed in the past. Today, the club cricket structure in Guyana is not fit for that purpose. So we have to figure out another way in how we can develop our players to be ready, first class ready, and then from there to the next level, right? And that's where the administrators come in. I'll be very frank. This is a situation that we have been seeing since the 90s, with the gradual decline of club cricket, talking from a Guyana perspective, and nothing has ever been done to arrest that decline to where we have today. The club cricket is an absolute joke. I turn on and I watch and I'll say this, when I look at West Indies cricket today, I don't get all big and jump up. We win a game here, we win a game there. My view is always at the domestic level. I look at all the age group cricket and so on. Looking at the intercounty recently, that is a shell of what intercounty cricket I remember seeing growing up in the 70s, right? I mean, most of these guys are playing in the intercounty cricket today could not make a good Case Cup team in the 70s. That's the standards. And I would say this may sound controversial. That GCB 11 to me is a waste of time. We need to have our intercounty at such a level of high standard, and not having players playing in that tournament that are not ready for that level. We have to find other ways to get them up to be able to play at the intercounty level. Remember, intercounty used to be first class cricket at one time.
And Fawad Bacchus I met Fawad Bacchus at GCC, and he was appalled with even the first division, the level of first division cricket being played. When I played first division, we played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, since 2018, this year, Berbice has started back playing red ball cricket.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you mention that, which is good to hear, that the government will be sponsoring. I heard that. Sorry, while listening to the commentary of the intercounty, that the government will be sponsoring 3-day red ball cricket in Berbice, and when the logistics are worked out, the similar thing will be happening
in Demerara.
In Demerara. So that was good news to hear.
And of course, the Essequibo team, to my mind, is the most powerful team, not on paper, but togetherness and ability and so on. But most of those players, in fact, all of those players play in the GCA cricket in Georgetown. Most of them play at police. So that is why, and even the GCA, which Sean Masai is doing a very good job, they had a lot of challenges playing two-day cricket. A two-day match just finished. GCC beat Transport badly. No, the match was drawn, but big scores from both sides. But the main thing which affected GCA was the weather and the availability of grounds for 2 consecutive days.
Now, let me ask you this, Sean. We have recently had because I saw a letter to the editor in one of the Guyana newspapers in which somebody was lamenting that we have had this great spell of dry weather.
Yeah.
And we have not been able to play any cricket.
No.
Usually it's the weather stops the cricket. And I would add to this in terms, I just remember this in terms of Essequibo. I remember in the early 2000s when the guys asked my dad to come out and run again to be the president of the Guyana Cricket Board. And I went with him to Essequibo when he went there to meet with the people in Essequibo to canvassing, And the one of the things he was saying to them was that, as you would know this, Sean, Essequibo had always lagged way behind them Rara and Borbice in terms of cricket. Every time they come to inter-county, they would get destroyed. They would get, they would be wiped, the floor, they would be wiped by wiped out. And what he was saying to them, look, we have to address that to bring up the level of cricket and in Essequibo, so better quality players could be developed in that county. But I don't know what has been done, and this is almost 25 years ago when he was telling these guys this.
Can I just say something, Sean?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. I'd like to go back on a couple of points made by Butch. Firstly, you mentioned Joel Andrews, right? He's a prospect. Definitely, he's a prospect. However, if you cast your mind back a couple of decades ago, Ronnie Sarwan was a talent like him, and he was plucked out of junior cricket to represent West Indies. Subsequently, he had a fantastic career. So there is also an example of Brian Lara picking Dwayne Bravo at 19. And we've all known his exploits in international cricket for West Indies and the franchises. So there are times when you pick guys, when you see something special about them. You don't necessarily need to stifle their talent and let they go through the normal rigors as an average player. Now, I think Joel Andrews will be better for his experience because he will then know and should understand the levels he needs to be at. So I'm an advocate for push the guys in, let them see what it's all about, right? So I don't disagree with the selection, but I understand the logic and the points made. Secondly, the A-team tour system program that you mentioned. Now, there's no point in CWI having an A-team program sending 3 or 4 guys on tours, if the guys are not up to scratch. We have to address that at a lower level. And I think we have to go right back to the coaching. We cannot put all of these things on the players because as a player, you can only play against what's in front of you, right? So with the coaching, it's my view, and I don't know if I'm alone with this, we actually don't have an identity of how we play in the West Indies. And when it comes from the coaching programs, the accreditation, everything is from outside coming in here. By now, we need to log heads. There's Otis Gibson, he's helped design the ECB Level 4. Design a West Indies accredited coaching program from intermediate level 1, 2, 3, and 4, which represents the way we play. One of the highest coaching accreditation is either ECB or the Australian system. they are not going to promote how we play over here. We will coach the kids how they play. So that is something that I think we need to pay a lot of attention to, our coaching structure, not just by assigning coaches to do programs, because those programs, you're running it off of what you've learned from outside. We need to put heads together and design a program where we can capitalize on the various qualities that we have in the region. You know, predominantly guys coming from Antigua back in the day and from Jamaica, Barbados, they can handle pace. From Guyana, Trinidad, spinners, they have that technique and they're more rounded players. So we've gone away from that because we've allowed it to creep into our system. You have to play a certain way. You have a firm base. You open your hips. You clear the boundaries. Yeah, that's fine. There's a place for that. But you still need to have a solid fundamental technique. You still need to stop the ball that's going to hit your stumps if you're not going to hit it for four. And when I see guys defending the ball and the ball can pass on the inside and the outside edge, that's a technical deficiency that needs to address. And it's right up all through age group cricket.
And I believe a reason for that is because, with maybe the exception of St. Lucia, all the pitches in the Caribbean have deteriorated. And when the World Cup was held, they had mandated to make all the pitches basically the same. So we used to go to play in Jamaica. We went to Barbados. That's in the 80s, the late 80s. And then when you went to Trinidad, as Felix said, you had different types of pitches. So you learned to play on different types of pitches. And another thing now is that the matches are being played in one particular territory. They don't go to every country as before. And the 2020 has evolved. And as a coach, I want to ask you something. Do you think that youngsters should be taught the 20-20 shots, the scoop shots, the reverse sweeps, the paddles, and those 20-20 shots at a young age?
Absolutely. Only after they've done their basic skills.
Yeah.
There's a place for that. There is a place for it. If as a coach, if you said, nope, I don't want you playing like that, you're going to lose them.
Right.
However, you don't promote that first.
No.
You get your fundamentals right. And at the end of each session, you could have 5 minutes to do your fancy shots, your lap, your sweep, your reverse sweep, your deal scoop. Whatever you want to do, you have 5 minutes for us to practice that properly. Because if that's going to be your X factor skill set, you have to stay in the wicket long enough that we can display that. Because when you first go in, you can't do that.
Yes, and I agree with you totally. I'm agreeing a lot with you tonight, Felix.
And it's really unusual, right?
Yeah.
Sean, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
Felix said in regards to Sarwan, I will remind him, because I met Sarwan at 15 when he went to trials. Sarwan went on at least 3 or 4 A-team tours before he got selected with West Indies team. And I'm going to tell you, he was failing in all of them, right? It was until he scored some runs, I think, against Zimbabwe touring team, that he got pulled in. He had to go through he was young, but he had to go through the drill. I'm using a term my dad used to use. He had to go through the drill, right?
But he didn't excel. To your point.
Let me just also point out to you, the time of Lara or Hooper, even when Sarwan came about, we still had a system that could produce world-class cricketers unlike today. So we can't compare Joel Andrew with those guys at all, because I've had some friends who have wanted to do so, and I would disagree with them strongly on that. Similarly, Louis from the islands made all the runs in the first class. Everybody put him into the test team. Louis should have been gone play 18 cricket. And when I'm talking about a team, I am talking that is part of a structure that starts you flowing from age group, learning all the technical things. And because at this point, we don't have the system in place, we got to go to the 18 and guys get inculcated before they get to international. And regarding the coaching, I have been lamenting forever regarding the quality of coaching in the region because I see the result. I'm a cricket coach myself, trained at the highest level, Australia level 3. So I know what a good coach looks like. And I see I only could judge by the results. I talked to guys when I was in Barbados recently, and they've heard my critique, right? And then they were telling me of some of the challenge they're having, one with the administrators. So I felt for them. I said, look, I can't, you guys are giving me some insights that me as an observer looking from outside, I only can see the results, right? And they were giving me some insight. So I know the level of coaching is very ordinary. And the last part, we have said this. There is a West Indian way of playing cricket. But what have we done? Have we done the research to develop that? Ask all those great players? Because
that's my point.
I agree. You go to and find and look at all of our great players, those who were up there 7-10 years, great players, and take the principles from what made them great and institute that into your coaching program. We have yet to do that. And that is something we have to do because, to tell you the truth, I have always been very disgusted of us trying to be like Englishmen or Australians, etc., etc. It's like saying to the Brazilians, they must play football like Europeans. No, West Indies have a specific way in which we play cricket, and we have to restore that West Indies, the way West Indians play cricket, identity. And one of the things is fixing the grounds. Because as Sean said, I used to ask my dad this. You go to Trinidad, you had to deal with the different circumstances, spin the wicket and so on. You went out into the islands, depending on where it was, the ball might turn square or the ball can bounce and pace. Jamaica's, and Barbados. So as a batter, for example, and bowlers, you had to always be adjusting and so on. And I would ask you as a coach, that is a skill set our players are woeful at, adjusting on the fly because they don't go through that process in their development.
I mean, to add to your point, right? I agree with a lot of the points that you're making. However, if you don't have the necessary personnel to instill in these players scenarios which will mimic or replicate what they're going to face, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, right? So like I said before, I am a player's coach. So I will always take the blame for players as a coach rather than putting it onto them. There's a place for them to get blamed, but if it is that their hands are tied, like you mentioned, the facilities in Guyana, we haven't got the great facilities, but sometimes that don't matter. Because you would find a guy in Pakistan who's never played on a proper cricket pitch. He's come on the world scene and he's just lighting it up.
India too, Sri Lanka.
Right. Yeah. Right. So if we're gonna have a holistic approach, we need to upskill the groundsman. Who's preparing the pitches, not just wetting it, cutting it, and rolling it. That's not pitch preparation, right? However, if that's all they know, we cannot blame them.
No.
Right? So that's the first thing. So with the administration, they need to be curator courses to upskill these guys, right? Now, where that money is going to come from, I have no idea. Maybe with conversation with the government, because the government seems to be quite heavily into sports, which is very important for any nation to succeed. So that could be a conversation by the relevant people. Also, when it comes to players, like you said, adjusting to conditions. I'll give you an example. Every single tour that CWI leaves the region, we practice at one facility. Right? So if it is the conditions in Antigua does not replicate what you're going to face in Bangladesh, that's counterproductive.
Correct.
Right?
It's not
So
real preparation.
I'm not saying that being in Antigua is not the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I am saying is, if Antigua is going to be our home, we need to have 4 pitches that's very different.
Yeah, we got to get pitches like Australia,
Right.
India,
So if we don't get Australian pitches, we need to put granite on the pitch.
Something.
I'll tell you a story when I went to Sri Lanka in 2005.
And you know, I just want to say this quickly, Sean, because people often think, for example, India, the big multi-billion-dollar India, right? And we think of the great facilities that India have. But what a lot of people don't understand, most Indian players don't even see those facilities unless they get to a certain level playing, right? Because I went to India and it looked just like Guyana, the way they coaches were doing things with the players. And just as Felix said, they had to be ingenious, think outside the box. Okay, how can I build something, get somebody, carpenter, to build something? Because I remember a guy, he wanted to get bowlers, spin bowlers to bowl the ball with the loop and so on. He had rings made at one height down the pitch. And that's something any carpenter in Guyana can make. So the coaches have to think outside the box, because we will never have the same resources and facilities like in the Australias, England, etc. And even when we were producing the great players of the past, our facilities were not great neither.
Exactly.
Right? So it's just that we had good competition that was going on, help the players, because you couldn't move up the ladder because competition was so stiff, which we don't have today, and that is one of the issues. Look, I would ask the question too, Sean. You remember a few years ago, when they had scrapped Intercounty for all those years, they had this franchise thing. And I saw that as a very interesting thing, because I said, restore Intercounty, keep that franchise competition as the bridge between club and Intercounty, right? So therefore, we would have some structures where we could start implementing those high performance principles, particularly in the franchise thing. If we had that franchise thing, because the clubs, that's a problem. You know, clubs struggling all over the region.
And the players used to be paid to play franchise cricket. And you could pick the intercounty team from the performances in the franchise.
Yes. So all the players in those things you would have had, you know, you would have started to train coaches to get a batting coach, a bowling coach, and all those things. Bringing all those principles for high performance to develop an elite cricketer at that level, and then you continue it going up the ladder. But you know, that's not there, because I also advocate, because our clubs are no longer producing first-class cricketers, that we have something that you would be familiar with, Felix, something a la the second 11 system like they have in England, where it would be purely for development, and older guys who will no longer play will play with these younger guys to pass on that information.
That's what happened when we played North Court cricket in Guyana.
That's what used to happen in clubs in the halcyon days. You had those former players in the clubs would take the youngsters under the wing and inculcate those principles that are necessary for that player to develop. And it's not happening at the club level, unfortunately.
Because to add to that point, I learned most of my cricket by listening.
Correct.
And watching.
Correct.
Rather than being coached, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw things I wanted to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to conversations of players who's been there, done it, and was still doing it, and that motivated me.
Mm-hmm.
The way how life has evolved, most of those players are no longer available.
Nope.
So that the younger guys can feed off of them. The other side of the spectrum is the younger generation are interested in different things.
Mhm.
So after a match, nobody sticks around for half an hour to listen to a conversation.
Exactly.
They're gone. In the
Yes.
English system, you finish, you have a beer with the opposition, you have a shower,
Mhm.
you converse. But it's not the way we play cricket here,
Mm.
which is why I was saying if we could get back to our identity from a coaching perspective, you then gonna reinstill the values of
Yes.
West Indies cricket,
Correct.
right? And
Yeah.
the value is representing that maroon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just get it because you just play half a season and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 And you put
I
forth-
also like the fact that guys get rewarded for good performances.
Mhm.
But how do you replicate those performances going forward?
Mhm.
You mentioned Jeremiah Louis. Was it
Yeah, Louis. Yes.
right? Mikhail Louis.
Mikhail Louis. Yes.
Right. I think he's a good player,
Mhm.
but with your approach, you think he would have been better served in an A-team setup
Mhm.
where he can then understand the step up
Mhm.
against better quality bowlers on better pitches. Let's see how he fare. And if he shows something there, even on his first tour, you say, actually, this
Yeah.
guy is in good nick. We need to get him in. You know,
And
I believe in that.
also, as you were talking about the technique, he would find out about his game and other things that he may need to improve if he's gonna make the step up to the next level.
And both of you guys, how important do you think is school cricket? Cricket in schools.
It's fundamental. It's fundamental.
Right. I'll answer that.
That's where you get the first love of the game and playing the game in an organized manner. And then if you want to go take it to the next level, you go and join a club.
Right, because for me, first introduction was cricket in the streets, in the yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you can get into a school side, that was such an achievement because you got time off from classes to go and play for your school,
Mhm.
right? So that was almost like a reward, an
Mhm.
incentive, right? Then if you joined the club, you got more coaching, more access to cricket. So when you went back to your school, you were a better player.
Yes.
Right. So there was all these incremental steps.
Mhm.
So it's a thing where the sports commission over here, they have rolled out a program going into remote areas and villages. I think it's 270 areas. They're rolling out the core sports, not just cricket.
Right.
12 core sports. And the concept of it is very, very good.
Mhm.
Right. Now, in addition to that, I have also had conversations with the relevant people with regards to how is this program going to be sustained. And one of the things is upskill the PE teachers and the teachers so you don't need to always send coaches to all these areas because we don't have the resources. We have to then upskill the teachers so they can fill in. And then when the guys get to a certain level, whether it's regional or zonal, they can then get more access to coaching. So there is a lot of work being done, but we are not going to see the benefits straight up. The Ministry of Sports and Culture, Youth and Sports, they've got a program for all these elite academies going to be set up around the country. Again, that's a very ambitious program, and I think is going to be fantastic. So it's all hands on deck, but I think there's a lot of voices from what I've noticed that can actually help or don't help. They have the knowledge, they have the experience, they have the expertise, but it's almost like I want to see your house fall down before I show you how to keep it up. You know,
I think
as a coach, it's very heartbreaking because when I was coming up, there were so many individuals that had such a positive impact in my development as a player and as a person. And I think we've gone away a little bit from that now. And I think if we get back to that and look at the core reason why we're doing it, which is the kids coming through, you will then put aside your differences with whoever and whatever.
All right. Well, we're quickly running out of time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the hours passed by so very quickly.
wow.
And I must say, when I started playing club cricket, it was people like Rex Collymore, who was still there. You would listen to him. I learned from watching Clyde Butts bowl, and those days are gone. I was doing some coaching a little while back at Maltino's, and there was this guy. We had practice sessions in the morning, physical, and he missed it. And then in the afternoon, he came to a few, and he said he had to go to lessons. And that's another problem. The academics are taking over. It's no more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, this is where we've got to go. Thank you, guys.
I just want to say this quickly to add on to what Felix said. Look, my dad always told me he learned 99% of his cricket in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And that was something he continued when he played club cricket. He never, at the end of the day's play, he would sit down and talk to the guys for about 2 hours, then try to jump in his car to drive to Linden. So, and I agree. And it's a problem all around with our youngsters. As soon as the game done, they're gone. With no talking cricket.
Yes, well, we've got to go now. On behalf of Felix and Basil and my technical man, I'm Sean Dever, saying if you can be good, then be careful.
Dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualaba posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your work site.